high transmission risk of the virus that would lead to a wide-scale impact to the community. For example, a medical practitioner who is aware of positive COVID-19 cases but fails to notify the Health Ministry will be given a compound of 5,000 ringgit. The second category involved high transmission risk of the virus but would not lead to a wide-scale impact to the community. For example, an individual deliberately enters an area which is under an enhanced movement control order. The individual will be fined 3,000 ringgit. The third category involved low transmission risk of the virus and would not lead to a wide-scale impact to the community, such as failure to wear a face mask, practice social distancing, or checking in manually or via MySejahtera before entering a premise. Individual will be fined 1,500 ringgit. The government, however, still maintains a 10,000 ringgit fine for those who flout the existing prohibition on pubs and nightclubs. Meanwhile, companies or individuals who have been compounded are eligible for a 50% discount if they settle the fine within 7 days of its issuance, 25% discount if paid within 14 days. After 14 days, no discount is offered. Takiuddin added that appeals can be made by students, low-income earners or people with disabilities or chronic diseases to the Health Ministry.
Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin announced a new stimulus package worth 20 billion ringgit. This is the sixth package unveiled since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic last year. Pemerkasa consists of 20 initiatives and the government will provide a fiscal injection of 11 billion ringgit for the scheme.
Among the initiatives outlined under Pemerkasa, an increase in allocation for COVID-19 immunization programs from 3 billion to 5 billion ringgit. This is to accelerate herd immunity by December 2021. Another 700 million ringgit is allocated for Wage Subsidy Program 3.0 for another 3 months with a focus on a more targeted approach. The government will also allocate 1.2 billion ringgit to 2.4 million recipients from the B40 group who have lost their income to obtain assistance such as a one-off assistance of 500 ringgit. To protect consumers from the rising oil prices, the retail price of raw 95 petrol and diesel is set at a ceiling price of 2 ringgit 5 cent per litre and 2 ringgit 15 cent per litre. Tan Sri Muhyiddin also announced that the government may no longer need to implement a nationwide movement control order. MCO will only be implemented by locality and focused on the relevant clusters only. With the inclusion of Pemerkasa, the government has announced a total of 340 billion ringgit worth of 8 packages since the pandemic started.
We speak to Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia Information Chief Datuk Wan Saiful Wanjan on how the stimulus package aims to strike a balance between lives and livelihood.
Saya rasa kita boleh nampaklah bahawa memang tidak mudah untuk kita menyeimbangkan antara menjaga kesihatan masyarakat, kesihatan awam dengan memastikan aktiviti ekonomi boleh berjalan dengan baik. Tetapi pengumuman ini menunjukkan kesungguhan kerajaan, kesungguhan Yang Amat Berhormat Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin untuk memastikan bahawa dalam kita menangani kesan daripada pandemik COVID-19 ini, kita tetap memastikan bahawa aktiviti-aktiviti ekonomi boleh berjalan dan rakyat dapat menjaga kebajikan masing-masing dan juga kita dapat memastikan keluarga, ahli masyarakat dapat terjaga kebajikan mereka. Sebab itulah kalau kita lihat, saya rasa kalau kita lihat pengumuman tadi, kita dengar pengumuman tadi, banyak penumpuan yang diberikan kepada syarikat-syarikat kecil, industri kecil dan sederhana. Dan juga dia boleh cover banyak program yang cover daripada golongan belia, wanita, pelajar, OKU, semuanya. Ada program-program spesifik yang diumumkan oleh Tan Sri Perdana Menteri. Dan ini adalah satu benda yang baik. Ini menunjukkan keterangkuman ataupun the wholeness of the approach yang diambil oleh kerajaan sekarang. Dan inilah yang langkah yang tepat saya rasa. Dan mungkin kalau kita nak komen secara spesifik, saya rasa langkah yang paling banyak kesan kepada rakyat keseluruhan ialah menetapkan harga shilling untuk petrol dan diesel. Ini sudah pasti akan membolehkan semua rakyat, ramailah daripada rakyat yang mempunyai kenderaan, baik motosikal, kereta dan juga pengusaha-pengusaha syarikat-syarikat yang menggunakan syarikat logistik contohnya akan dapat kesan baik daripada ini. Jadi secara keseluruhannya saya rasa pengumuman yang dibuat oleh Tan Sri Muhyiddin ini adalah satu bukti bahawa Tan Sri Muhyiddin dan Kerajaan Perikatan Nasional sentiasa prihatin terhadap kebajikan rakyat dan menunjukkan kesungguhan untuk memastikan kebajikan sentiasa terjaga.
Yesterday, PKR President Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim suggested to delay the second dose of the Pfizer vaccine in a bid to inoculate more people within a shorter time frame. Is there a case for delaying the second dose of vaccine from a safety and health perspective? Malaysian Pharmacists Society President Amrahi Buang weighs in.
I think the most logical thing that we need to follow is actually the one recommended by Pfizer, which is actually, the second dose has to be given on day 21, okay, of the vaccine for the second dose. Of course, they also suggested, in UK, actually can extend up, some are saying up to 6 weeks, and even some want to extend to 12 weeks. So I think we have to base on evidence, okay, whereby we want to see what is actually the recommended, what you call in terms of the dose by Pfizer. And we need to know that this is something that we want to achieve in terms of the effectiveness or the efficacy against against the virus.
He said logistical issues will play a role in determining who should get the vaccine first.
It's going to be very difficult, for example, if how are you going to manage logistics, okay, if, for example, we're not sure when, the next supply of the vaccine will come in, okay, and all this will be only known by the Ministry of Health, who are actually handling all this, the logistic issue. Yeah? So it is very important for them to make sure that when they distribute the vaccine, it's not as simple as we say, because it's going to be across the peninsula as well as into Sabah and Sarawak, and we're talking about even to the remote areas, okay? And so it's not a question of whether it can or it cannot. I think it is a question of whether it is possible to give within the time, because we are talking about things that we want to achieve in terms of the effect of the vaccine to protect against the virus.
Amrahi added that the one to make the call would be authorities handling the COVID-19 immunization program who has valid information of the vaccine stock at current.
The Ministry of Health, meanwhile, said it will maintain 3-week dosing interval of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine instead of delaying the second dose so that more people can be inoculated.
Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said that delays in receiving the second dose of the vaccine may slow the optimum build-up of antibodies. For now, he said the long-term effectiveness of the vaccine after the first dose is unknown. But based on observations during clinical trials, the vaccine becomes effective 12 days after the first dose and achieves an efficacy rate of about 89% between 14 and 21 days.
The second dose of Pfizer-BioNTech vaccinations is administered beginning today, with Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin becoming the first person in Malaysia to receive the second dose.
Muhyiddin received the vaccine at Person 18 Health Clinic in Putrajaya, followed by Dr. Nur Hisham. Both had gotten their first dose on February 24, kicking off the national COVID-19 immunization program. A total of 346,508 people have received the first dose of the Pfizer-BioNTech as of Tuesday, March 16. Selangor recorded the highest number of vaccinations with 41,913 people, followed by Perak, Sabah and Sarawak. A COVID-19 vaccine batch will be given to all those who complete vaccination with 2 doses. Health Minister Dr. Adam Babas said the badge is a card that cannot be copied as it has a certain security code. A vaccine certificate on My Sejahtera application can also be downloaded for those who receive the second dose of the vaccine.
We'll take a short break. Stay with us.
Mampukah rangkaian anda memperkasa organisasi anda bertindak dalam masa nyata? Dengan rangkaian berprogram Maxis, penuh
On to updates in Myanmar. Protesters continue to defy security forces amid mounting death toll in the country. United Nations has urged people to collect evidence to build cases against those responsible for the crimes involved in the crackdown.
The team of investigators said evidence, including reports received, orders given and policies set, are needed to take action against responsible leaders. Meanwhile, the European Union said it is ready to approve sanctions against those involved in the military coup. France said on Tuesday that the sanction would be approved next Monday. As of today, over 180 individuals have been killed as armed forces continues its lethal crackdown against protesters, including the use of live ammunitions. Families of the victims held funerals on Wednesday to mourn the deaths of those who lost their lives during the crackdown.
As the daily death toll mounts, Myanmar junta seems unmoved by domestic and international calls for a de-escalation of violence. Can ASEAN do better? Tonight on Consider This, we discuss with our panelists on who can change the course of this tragedy. On to other international news. Vietnam says its homegrown COVID-19 vaccine will be available by fourth quarter this year. Called the Nanocovax, its health ministry said the vaccine can be put to use in 2022.
The announcement comes as more countries try to speed up development of homegrown vaccines amid tight global supply and concerns over the emergence of new strains of the virus. 4 Vietnamese companies were engaged in vaccine research and production, and 2 were undertaking human tests, including on Nanocovax and the Covivac vaccine. The Philippines will suspend the arrival of foreigners and returning citizens as the country battles a renewed surge in COVID-19 cases and increasing infections of new variants. The suspension will take place from March 20 until April 19. The government also said a wider lockdown in the Philippines cannot be ruled out if its surge in COVID-19 infections continues. Meanwhile, South Korea said that the rollout of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine will continue despite major European countries' decision to pause vaccinations to investigate reported blood clots in people who had received it. A total of around 20 European countries, including Germany, France and Italy, have suspended the use of AstraZeneca's vaccine pending the outcome of investigations. A total of 570,000 people in South Korea have already been administered the AstraZeneca vaccine.
That is all we have for you on AWANI tonight. Get the latest news updates on COVID-19 and COVID-19 vaccines from astroawani.com and Astro AWANI app. I'm Cynthia Ng. We'll see you tomorrow.